What's going on, Packers fans? Welcome into an all-new episode of the Pack-A-Day Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. You can find the podcast at Pack-A-Day Podcast. You know him, Wisco Grant. You can find him on social media at Wisco Grant. Grant Bills, of course. And then the one and only Perri Goldstein. You can find her on social media at Perri_Goldstein. Packs what she said. Two of my favorite people in the world and two awesome people to podcast and videocast with. And doing it on a Thursday night to record Friday episode, a very rare Grant and Perri Friday episode. Friends, how the heck are you doing?
I'm doing great. So good to see your faces.
It's great to see you both. I got to say, I like the whole schedule of every 2 year, new defensive coordinator every 2 years. Now, I'd prefer it's because they are so good they get hired. This is good for content. And I remember some of these names from 2 years ago. So I like the continuity. 2 years, and then let's get a new guy in there. I like this.
The really cool aspect is, so I had Tyler make me a new thumbnail for defensive coordinator search this year. And then like Justice and I primarily talked about defensive coordinators, and I didn't want him to have to make a new one. So I looked back, and the one that was on top of the one from 2 years ago was Al Harris and Jim Leonard. So I'm like, oh, that's great. I can literally use the same exact one from 2 years ago. So we're all set. So it worked out great. So shout out to, Tyler for having a thumbnail that works 2 years after the fact. So that worked out great.
Work that ages well. That means it's good art. That's what that
very
means.
much so. We should have term limits on defensive coordinator. That's what we need in our society is 2 year term limits on defensive coordinator. Once they've done their 2 year term, it should be for special teams coordinator too. Let's be real. 2 year term limits on all coordinators. That, you know what? I am running on that platform for all offices moving forward. I'm running on a 2 year term limit for all coordinator positions in the NFL.
I feel like the reaction to Hafley leaving was just so, I don't want to say indifferent because that sounds mean, but just it was so expected that everyone was like, oh, thanks for the good times, bro. You made us enjoy defense again. Like, have a nice job being a head coach. It was just so like lovely, which never happens during some of these partings. They're usually like have some friction involved, and this was just like all sunshine and rainbows, which honestly, like, love that for him.
Very much so. I was shocked, honestly, how many Miamians absolutely hated the Jeff Hafley hire and were like furious about like, this guy sucks, we don't want anything to do with him. And then I like tweeted out, I'm like, just wait till you hear his press conference and you're going to be totally fine. And then people said like, I don't care about a press conference. I want winning football. And I'm like, dude, he's a good coach. Like, you're going to enjoy having, I don't know how it ends up. You don't know how it ends up. I don't know how it ends up, but like, he is a good, legitimate hire who had interviews everywhere and everyone wanted him back for a second interview. And yeah, maybe he does terrible. I don't know. But like, if I were a team, I would not have any issue with Jeff Hafley being my head coach. I'll just put it that way.
Well, and so I was watching Twitter all day today during his pressers. I'm like, let's see what the Dolphins people are saying. And it was what you'd expect, right? Like, I don't know if he's going to be a good coach, but I'm ready to run through a wall, like all that stuff. And it's also hilarious that he's following Mike McDaniel, because this is the classic, we just had a scheme nerd. Now we need a leader of men. Or like the coaching hires will go the other way. We just had a meathead. Now we need a scheme guy. And all the comments were like, no ums, no ahs, because that's all Mike McDaniel is. Like, he's just a stoner at the podium. So the contrast between the guy they just got rid of and the guy who got introduced today, like that whole part of it really entertained me too.
I love Mike McDaniel.
I do too.
I mean, I think that Hafley, I mean, you should have confidence. Like, yes, it's college, but Hafley's also been a head coach. So he's like been a successful coordinator in the NFL. He was a successful coach in college. Like, he's got all the makings to be successful. The question, I think, and not that this is a Miami podcast, but my question is less about like, can Jeff be a good head coach? It's more like, is the setup in Miami going to be successful for him?
Yeah. Once he gets Malik Willis, he'll be fine.
I know. I'm like, well, the new GM, obviously he's a Packers guy. It makes sense. He brought his Packers guy with him, but they need a quarterback. Like, that's the big, open.
They need one every year. Talked about. They're going to keep drafting him.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I don't know if you guys listen to Bill Simmons. Big Bill Simmons fan. Okay. So he always talks about like good situations for a new head coach. And he's like, all you need is good leadership and the quarterback, and like, you will be fine. Like, if you mess that up, like, you're just a bad head coach. And Jeff's got one He needs another. I think he'll figure it out.
I don't know if you guys like watched the Jolie Molinaro or whatever it is, the
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel with Jim Harbaugh. And it was just, I didn't like, he did a good job with it or whatever, but I didn't even think of like the contrasting styles of like Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel. You couldn't, and again, he nailed it in like the impersonation of like, you know, Jim Harbaugh's in the khaki pants and, you know, Mike McDaniel's got the, the, what are those called between shorts and pants? I can't think. Capris, thank you. Yeah, he's got capris.
Is that not what they're called? Perri would know more than me. Are
that
they?
Is.
So funny. That's so funny. That's what they're called. Yeah.
Yes, and you
So
couldn't
if
have
a
like
guy
two more
is
different
wearing them.
personalities.
They're still capris. There's not a masculine different name for capris.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Just making sure.
No.
Anyway,
Capris.
who do we want to be defensive
Thank you, Perri.
coordinator for the
Thank
Packers?
you for being the one that brought this all back around. Well, Perri, since you brought it up, you start. Who's your? Well, we should note that Christian Parker got hired by Dallas on Thursday, so he is no longer in the running for Green Bay. That's definitely. Maybe it's not a disappointment for people if that's not who they wanted, but you don't want good candidates off the market. I think he was a good candidate, so he's off the market. So for that, aspect, it's a bummer. But Perri, who's your horse in the race?
Yeah, I mean that's I hate how good of a hire that is. That's what I'll say about that. I hate to say it, I don't know that I have one. I think there are good candidates out there. I was, I'm a big Raheem Morris fan, but then, folks like to remind you that he doesn't have like top 10 defenses by DVOA.
Or
not
top
sure.
15, yeah, even top 15 in total.
Whatever that means. Not sure how much I put stock into that at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is not a good take. I don't know that I have like too much of a front runner right now. Like I have a few things that I want a coach to bring. But I just don't know who that is at the moment.
Do you have anyone you don't want at this point? Anyone that you're like, oh God, please no?
I am so sick of the Jim Leonard conversation. Like, shut it down. I'm over it. It's not happening. Like, stop. Like, it's enough. It's every time. It's like almost like campy at this point.
You could not exist. You could not exist in my city because in my city, it's coming from two fan bases.
It's not like, just stop. I kind of like the Al Harris. Like, I love the lore of Al Harris. Like, I think that's awesome. The Bears were not a good defense this year. That's obviously not his fault necessarily, but like, so I don't think anyone's perfect. I want someone who brings that energy that a defensive coordinator has. Like, I want someone who like will make you want to run through a brick wall, as Grant was just saying. And I think we need someone in Green Bay who has like a really good track record of developing guys, because this side of the ball is still really young. And I mean, he's getting incredible, or she, I don't know, never been done before, is getting some incredible pieces to work with. So it's kind of hard to mess it up. Like Jeff's scheme worked really well in Green Bay. And I don't know, it's hard to watch a good coach go and be like, can we just replicate what that was?
Grant, what about you? Favorites or ones you don't want?
Well, for the sake of my sanity, as someone who does 6 hours of radio in Madison, our flagship is in Madison. I had a caller point this out the other day and I laughed. He's like, somebody needs to hire Jim Leonard just to like close the circuit in all of our brains. Like, it doesn't even matter if it's the Packers or if the Badgers want to fire Fickle and bring Leonard. Like, someone needs to hire him because it is constant Perri. And in this town, in this state, it's the college football fans too. I would be excited about Jim Leonard. I know a bunch of people who played for him, and it's interesting. They'll go. They'll talk. They never shut. And I like talking sports, but at a certain point, it's like, God, I've had enough. Like, I don't need to hear about Jim Leonard anymore. But it's the leader, the teacher, the schemer, all of the things. He's called the defense before, so I think my two favorite candidates are Leonard, and then I really like Durante Jones in Minnesota. Right, I get my wires crossed a little bit. It's late. I would really like him too. He's never been the main guy like Leonard has. Leonard's only done it at college, but we had Matt Collar on, who covers the Vikings. He used to be at ESPN 1500. Now he has Purple Insider. He covers the Vikings, and he's like, that's the one thing the Packers could do that I think would really like maybe change the complexion of the division. He's so crucial to what Flores has done. He's his right-hand guy. I love the idea of someone who's coached under Flores because I think he's a guy. He won games for the Vikings this year single-handedly. So I think those are my two names. I would be excited about Jim Leonard. Durante Jones is probably the other one. Al Harris seems like a reach. That seems like a risky hire for a team that's supposed to be ready to win a Super Bowl next year.
That's why I said I like the lore. I don't like
great lore.
The actual, it just, we love a history. We love a match of someone who play, but the actual practicality of it, I don't.
Jim Leonard has lore. I mean, there's lore there. I do love the Bears accounts that it's like, do they know? Right? They're like, oh, the Packers now wanting to poach Bears people. Like, why can't they get there? It's like, well, he's a pretty legendary Packer from, this century, or pretty highly thought of, which is kind of funny. I saw those tweets.
I am pretty much echoing what Grant said. I very much want Jim Leonard. I think I know Perry's not going to be too happy about this. I will be willing to bet you that Jim Leonard gets a defensive coordinator job this offseason. I bet a lot, because I know he was considered in Dallas, but he's going to be considered for the Jets. He's going to be considered for the Giants. He's going to be considered, I think, for the Packers. Also, Vance Joseph is the likely leader in the clubhouse to go to Arizona once the Broncos season is done, which means Vance Joseph is going to need a defensive coordinator and could very much want Jim Leonard from Denver. Also, Denver is going to have an opening because Vance Joseph is going to leave, and Jim Leonard probably going to be one of the leaders in the clubhouse there as well. So I don't think I would be very stunned if Jim Leonard doesn't get and take a defensive coordinator job.
Would the Packers be more intriguing than some of those other teams because he wouldn't be a defensive coordinator under a defensive head coach? He would be the guy running the whole. We talk about that with offensive coordinators,
yes.
Right?
For the Jets and the Cardinals in that situation, if Vance Joseph leaves, yes. In Denver, he would be able to stay and now be the coordinator because of Sean Payton. With New York, he would be the guy under Jim Harbaugh, who I think he played under, if I remember correctly, John Harbaugh, who I think he played under. But I could be wrong, or at least maybe there was some connection there, I thought. And then, obviously in Green Bay, he would be the guy here too. So yes, I do think Green Bay has some advantage. I don't know how much coaching in Wisconsin matters to him. I don't know if he maybe just loves Denver. Arizona's pretty great. I don't know. So those would all be things that, would be up to him, but obviously he'd have to get offered the job first. I also don't know if Matt would be, because Jim Leonard kind of pulled his name out when he was one of the favorites, in the Joe Barry situation. Is Matt gonna, and also kind of like went out of his way in his press conference to be like, yeah, I was the one who said no. Like they wanted me and I said no. Maybe Matt is not a huge fan of how that went down. You don't know how these things, work sometimes, but I would be a fan of that. Durante Jones definitely has piqued my interest. And I'm going to just say a name that nobody's really brought up, and certainly he's not, interviewing or anything. I know he's holding out hope for the Cleveland Browns job. I want Jim Schwartz. I think Jim Schwartz and his brand of 4-3 defense is an experienced defensive coordinator who's been good basically everywhere he's gone as a coordinator. Don't hire him as a head coach, but as a coordinator, he's been awesome. He was unbelievable in Cleveland. Yes, he had the greatest defensive player in the world, but Green Bay has the literal second version of that in Micah. And their offense couldn't do crap. And it still was like, don't worry, we're still going to play top 10, top 5 defense for you over the last 2 seasons. And he's not going to get the head coaching job. At least I really don't think he's going to get the head coaching job in Cleveland. If he doesn't, I don't think he's going to want to stay. And now, would you rather be the defensive coordinator in Cleveland or Green Bay at this point where you have a chance to win a Super Bowl? I would be all in on Jim Schwartz if he ends up leaving Cleveland and he's an option for them.
Could he bring a little nasty, bring a little
Very
something
much.
that maybe they're
Absolutely.
missing?
That's
like
the
that.
vibe. That's the vibe, I think. And I think Micah would love. I keep going back when I'm thinking about this to Micah's end of locker clean out press conference and what he was saying about what this team is missing and what it needs and just the energy and, players have to want to go out there and play and all that kind of stuff. And what coach is going to bring that out in these guys? And I like that, Andy.
There's certain defensive coordinators that despite, no matter where they coach or despite how long they've been coaching or things like that, they just work. Steve Spagnuolo just works as a defensive coordinator. He's a really good defensive coordinator. He's going to be a good defensive coordinator pretty much anywhere he goes. I think Jim Schwartz is that way. I would be willing to bet you Brian Flores is pretty much that way. You're just getting a good defensive coordinator almost no matter what. And if you're Green Bay, why are you messing around? Why are you taking a chance at somebody who hasn't called plays? Why are you taking a retread that hasn't worked in the past or hasn't had a top 15 defense? Or why are you taking somebody that, maybe had an okay run in Philly, but now they were terrible as a head coach in Arizona, is a little bit quirky, Jonathan Gannon? Like, I
hate that pick, by the way, like personality wise.
Fire in your gut.
And I get you have Ansley and Covington in house, but both of them were not, successful defensive coordinators when given the opportunity. And you can probably keep at least one, if not maybe both of those guys under Jim Schwartz too. Or again, whoever you hire. So I'm kind of really loving the Jim Schwartz idea, though. Again, we have no idea if he's even going to interview anywhere or anything like that, but that's my guy I want.
I was kind of hoping the Jets would fire Aaron Glenn after this season and the Packers could hire him, but that's not going to happen.
They'll fire him week 4.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Should just wait.
Do you know how? Okay, you want to get really niche here. This is going to be one of the stranger segue / conversations I've ever had on the podcast. All right, when Weezer first came out, they were thought of as one of the most talented bands, and they were highly critically acclaimed when they first came out. And then about 3 or 4 albums later, they had some of the worst critically acclaimed albums. What's the opposite of critically acclaimed? Critically bashed albums. And I remember a Pitchfork.com article that wrote a huge article on Weezer and said, this is so bad that I honestly have to go back and wonder if we were just fooled at the beginning of Weezer's albums. Like, it was never good in the first place. And we were just wrong, because what I'm listening to now is so, painful to the ears that nobody that's talented could ever make something this bad. So basically what all they've used to done in the past must also be bad. That's where I'm at with Aaron Glenn, of what he did as head coach for the New York Jets was so bad. Now I have to go back and almost reevaluate his work in Detroit and be like, I don't even know if I want to touch that guy with a 10-foot pole. That's how bad it was in New York.
That's hilarious. But also everyone who leaves the Jets, they get the stink off them after a year and then shine.
You are very correct in saying that. Robert Saleh is a great example.
I mean, Rodgers had a really good season with the Steelers. So I think it's the Jets and not Aaron Glenn. But
Jets stink is a real thing. You are totally correct in that.
Secondarily, I think it's a testament to Dan Campbell and the culture that he had, where a guy who's maybe a little, not off the rails, but he's got his thing going on. Glenn does, right? But that can exist and work in a place where there's a strong culture and an established thing. You can come in and just be this badass bounty hunter defensive coordinator guy. But you take it out of, the orbit of Dan Campbell and everyone's like, who's this guy's deal? And I also think the Jets are just the worst football team to ever try to be a football team. So that's obviously first and foremost. Yeah.
It's so bad. All right, let's get to our main topic, because I'm excited to do this. We get to give out awards for the season, and we've got a lot of different ones that we can get to. Some of these are going to be very easy. I think other ones are going to have good debate. So we will start off with offensive MVP of the season for your Green Bay Packers. And let me just ask, is there anyone that would like to make an argument for anybody other than one Jordan Love?
No.
I mean, I can.
Okay, I could.
I don't think you can.
I had one other player in parentheses if we were having to choose somebody else.
Tucker?
It's Jordan.
Is Tucker your parentheses? Or is Christian?
It's Christian.
Okay. To me, it's games played for Tucker and Christian. If they both played the full season, I think there would have maybe been an argument there. Jordan didn't play the full season. No.
If I may, I read this and I excluded quarterback. I figured it was someone other than quarterback, because Jordan was great this year. And if we were being honest, he'd be first and foremost. I was going to split my offensive MVP. First half, Tucker Kraft. Second half, Christian Watson, because I think they both kind of did the same thing for the offense when they were healthy. It's just they weren't ever out there at the same time. So that's kind of the way that I viewed it, because they were both just so important, but they didn't exist at the same time. Very sad.
Can you imagine? If they just existed at the same time?
I've tried. I've done a lot of imagining about this Packers season, Andy, since really the Denver game. It's all they've done. All I've done, because they haven't done any winning. So
we'll talk about that. So we're in agreement overall, though. If Jordan's in play, Jordan's the offensive MVP. Okay.
Yes.
Easy, unbelievable season. So excited to see what he can do again next year. Staying in the same offense. Hopefully having Jaden Reed for a full year, Christian Watson for a full year, Tucker Kraft for a full year, on and on. I think that would be very exciting. Fingers crossed. All right, defensive MVP. I will ask a very similar question. Is there anybody that would like to make an argument for anybody besides one Micah Parsons?
No.
Very easy answer. It's okay. We can still award. They still give the Oscar for Best Picture, even if it's
not important.
Obvious one that everyone wants. Yes.
Yeah.
So
if I was doing an all pro situation, like he's first team and I have others who are second team, like very easily, but
Sure.
nobody beats what Micah did this season.
yeah, I posted this. Let me see if I can find it really quick here. But it was basically like the difference in grades for the defense this year in the games that he played versus the games he did not play.
I saw this, Andy.
And it was, it almost like took me by shock of like, oh my, okay, so here it is. Packers defensive grades week 1 through 15 with Micah Parsons plus 28.3 were my grades. So just like a really, really good defense. They were plus 9 for the season in 2024, by the way. So plus 9 for the season in 2024 for the entire defense. Weeks 1 through 15 with Micah plus 28.3. Weeks 16, 17, and 18 in the wild card. The final 4, negative 16.5.
Oh.
So just an insane 44.8 point difference between those two. And if you're thinking, well, week 18 against Minnesota doesn't really count. It's not that was the best of the remaining 4 games that the defense graded. That was the best. The other 3 were all worse than that. So a just insane difference with and without Micah on the field. It was not the same team. It was not the same defense. And it goes without saying very clearly the defensive MVP of the team. I mean, arguably the defensive MVP of the league. Like nobody impacted. And like you can see it double. Dallas's defense for the season like was nowhere near what it was because they didn't have Micah. They had to obviously they got Kenny in the trade. They signed Jadeveon Clowney and they traded for Quinnen Williams, and their defense still couldn't perform the way that it did with Micah. And Green Bay's defense, once Micah was out, was just, and they went 0-5 and a half basically as a team without him. It's just insane.
Yeah.
5.5. Yeah.
or is 5 including Denver? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
No, that makes sense. It took me a sec to think about what you meant. That's
fine. Either way, special teams MVP, our favorite category. I think there's a simple one for here too. Are you all right, Daniel Whalen? Anyone want to make a different argument?
Well, I actually wrote LOL ? But it is Daniel Whalen.
Could I just use this as an opportunity to give you a 30-second take relating to special teams?
Go for it.
Are we going to get to? I think the Packers should offer Bo Melton a 10-year contract, and they should sit him down this offseason and say, you are never taking another offensive or defensive rep. We will give you a 10-year contract. We are tasking you this offseason with traveling around the country. You're going to talk with Matthew Slater. You're going to go find Chris Banjo. And you are our guy. We need Gunner covered. Like he just needs to be, dude, go turn yourself into the best special teams player in football. Like that's honestly would be on my to-do list this offseason.
He was really good too, especially as a gunner. He was really, really good. So he probably would be my second or like the runner up for this. I don't know that anybody else would really be like Nick Neiman played well, but not he missed games too. I think Bo Melton might be my second best special teams player on the team this year.
I kind of love that take, Grant.
What's stopping you from doing that? This is
to be fair, that's what they basically did. They needed to find a way to keep him as just a special teams guy. So they said, how can we get you? Because like you're going to be our like number 7 wide receiver. You're going to be like, so like how can we all right, so you can be our emergency wide receiver. You can give us like a number 6 corner, and now you get to be the core special teamer. That they basically try to give him as much to keep him on the roster, as much value as they could, so they could keep him as a specialist.
Go train with Matthew Slater.
All right.
In the desert somewhere and get all of his wisdom. Like that's what you need to do. Because I think, this isn't really on our list of things we'll talk about most disappointing coach. I don't think it's all on Rich Bisaccia, you guys. Like they can't all be idiots. You can't hire 6 straight special teams coordinators who are all idiots. Like there needs to be other solutions to this thing. So that's my Bo Melton take. He would be number 2 behind Whelan for me. Yeah.
Organizations, when they become organizations, have to set their Madden sliders for what they get. And Green Bay set all the quarterback as an organization. Yeah. So the special teams is set to 0. Defense is set to like 15 out of 100 and quarterback set to 100. They've sold their soul on all the other sliders to get the 100 level quarterback every single time. And they're screwed everywhere else is what it comes down to. And every once in a while you get a Reggie White, a Charles Woodson, or a Micah Parsons once every, decade basically. And and then you can win a Super Bowl during that time. So hopefully Green Bay can do that this time around. All right. Breakout player of the year. This might be our first interesting one. I think there could be some interesting ones here, although there's a chance we're all on the same page here too. Who wants to go first?
I can.
Go ahead.
Tucker Kraft until he got hurt.
Okay. I like
was
that
about
one.
to have the season. And I think he was kind of already on the map if you're like plugged in to Packers football, but to the rest of the league, I really don't think he was until this season.
I mean, when you go from good tight end to all pro level tight end, that's a breakout. And to me, again, I know that PFF didn't like him as much. I don't understand it at all. Why? I know that like Madden keeps putting him at like 83 overall instead of in the 90s. And I don't know why. He's phenomenal. I wouldn't want almost anybody else. Maybe you can make the Trey McBride argument. There's maybe a couple you could argue, but he's a Packers tight end through and through. I love him. I hate that he got the injury, and I have no issue with that argument whatsoever.
My take, by the way, on the Madden PFF thing is I think they're always a season or two behind. So like you're going to all of a sudden see him like see those numbers reflect like next season or
Hopefully.
the season after. But yeah, he's absolutely, I mean, a full season, I don't like playing revisionist history, but it's really disheartening to think about like what could have been if we had a full season of what he was doing before he tore his ACL.
A lot of that going around for Green Bay this year. I mean,
Yes.
you don't get a full season of Christian. You don't get a full season of Jaden Reed. You don't get a full season of Tucker.
It's easier when they come back.
Micah,
like the Christian
Devontae.
injury is easier for me because like he came back, right? So like, yeah, we had to wait for it, but then it happened. We're like, yeah, it's so different when it was like, that was awesome. And no, we lost it. Like that's so
just
different.
games lost by primary players. I mean, Jordan missed a couple games. Zach Tom missed a handful of games all over the season. Obviously, we know Devontae. We know, Devontae Wyatt. We know Micah. We know, again, Jaden and Christian. We know Tucker Kraft. There's just so many damn injuries that, like, because yes, it was awesome that they came back, but like that Cleveland game is marred by the fact that Zach Tom played one snap. You have no Christian Watson. I think you're out without Jaden Reed in that game. Yeah. Like there's other like those games too. Dallas, same thing. You're missing out on those performances too. That costs you, potential playoff positioning. So yeah, it's a bummer how many. And again, I know every team goes through it to some extent, but Green Bay's key players were all very much involved. Do you have a breakout player, Grant?
Yeah, I don't think I'm missing someone super obvious. This one's maybe a little bit more subtle. Bullard, I think, popped. I didn't really know what to make of him as a rookie. And this year I'm like, okay, now I kind of see your role. The version that he was this year, dependent on chaos around him, like his role and his value was, I'm going to go find the opportunity that someone created and blow it up. And like some players that he kind of makes me think of like Hufanga. I don't know that you build a whole defense around Hufanga, but when you have good players elsewhere, like he's going to come through and bring a big hit. Sendejo with Minnesota, like opposite of better players is kind of that way. And I think this team really needs that guy, not dirty or violent, but like someone who's going to pop you. When the Packers have lost to the Niners in the playoffs, it's like, damn, they can't get any extra yards. They're just getting crushed every time. And Bullard can provide that. And again, he's not going to transform the defense by himself unless he takes another leap. But when all the other pieces are in place, he was really valuable and added a lot this year. So I'll go Bullard.
I'm going to stay in the same room. I'm going Evan Williams. I thought Evan Williams was good to maybe even really good his rookie year. So if you're making an argument against Evan, you might just say, I already knew he was good. I thought he took a legitimate leap. This is not going to set like, this is not a diss towards X at all, who I thought had a really good season. To me, Evan Williams was the best safety on the team this year. And I thought he was that good. He was unbelievable to me. He was my favorite player to watch this season. And I thought he took to me, he was an all-pro caliber safety. And I don't know that everyone recognized it because he's not getting the picks and things like that. But the stuff he was doing in run defense and the stuff that he was doing flying around the ball, like literally my favorite player to watch this year. Micah's in that conversation too, but not Micah Parsons related. Evan definitely on that. So I'm going Evan. I thought it was a huge breakout for him.
And missed a couple of games too in the final quarter of the season, didn't he?
He did. He did. Yeah, of
course. Noticeable when Evan Williams was out also.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, go ahead, Grant.
Well, I was just going to say, I think their defense, when it struggled, it was a lot of times they allowed 2-yard runs to turn into 5-yard runs or 4-yard runs to turn into 8-yard runs. And I think Evan Williams is a big part of that. Like sure tackling around the line of scrimmage on top of things he was doing in coverage, but Bullard and Williams, both parts of that. When the defense got leaky, they started getting pushed back. And I think their safety play, especially Williams, was a big part of preventing that from happening when he was healthy.
Well said, my friend. All right. Most disappointing player or coach. You can go in any direction that you want. Most disappointing player or coach. This is another one where I think, unfortunately, you could have a lot of different answers.
Grant's turn to go first.
I mean, I guess I'll go the obvious one. Gary. I think it just has to be Gary. He just this should have been the year. I'm not asking him to be an all pro. Like you didn't necessarily need to see Gary have 15 sacks this year, but he just disappeared like in ways that he shouldn't have. And I don't really understand it if he's a player that's a little over the hill, if he wasn't in shape or what. I don't know. It was such a disappointment. I'm not even really sure where to start with him or exactly how to attack the season that he had.
He was just ineffective. Like in a way that even without Micah, he never was. Like he at least had those like bursts. Like there was nothing. To me, the most disappointing about Gary, like the one thing you could always say about him before this season was he gave it 100. And
Sure.
he just didn't this season. Like
That's
he
another
straight up did not. Like you could see it on the field, and that was really hard to watch.
Andy, you might see this. I don't watch film, but like when they show replays or whatever. The bad thing about Gary, I feel like, is someplace he looked really small, like he's getting dog walked by a wide receiver, or he's getting pushed into the ground. But then on other plays, he's looking really slow. You know what I mean? Like you get to be one or the other. You get to be pushed by a wide receiver, but run down the quarterback, or you get to not run down the quarterback because you're slow, but then you maul the wide receiver out of the way. And like you would get the worst traits of what should be multiple players. Yeah.
I don't know how to define what happened to Rashawn Gary. I do think that there were a lot of moments throughout the course of the year that he was better against the run than people gave him credit for. And I know the wide receiver one is going to get a lot of play or whatever, but I do think he set the edge very well and he's played better run defense. I don't know if he tried to put on size to be more physical against the run and he just lost all of his explosiveness. I don't know what it is, but he looks completely lost as to how to win as a football player consistently. And yeah, I get he had 60 pressures per PFF, which is actually up 11 from a season ago. Doesn't feel that way. But to Perry's point, if you're looking at impact, I mean, how do you go 10 games, the final 10 games of the year without a sack or a tackle for loss as Rashawn Gary? And I think it just compounds the issue is, of course, top 15 pick, huge contract, captain's C on his chest, and then those little jog it out plays at the end. And I think the one that was like just the most eye-opening was the one where he had the inside track to the quarterback. I forget which game it was. And Micah's like 5 steps behind him.
Denver,
and Gary, I think it was Denver. I was going to say as well. And then Gary starts his jog and Mike just boom, just races right past Rashawn Gary. And then he might as well have just pushed Gary out of the way on the way to the quarterback. And then goes and makes an impact on he didn't get a sack or anything. I think he got a pressure at the end.
I feel like that happened during a Bears game too.
It could have been multiple.
It was too there were times where it felt like the Packers defense didn't finish plays, especially in Bears games where Caleb's gonna keep going until he literally cannot. And Gary would just jog and I'm keep going. He's that guy that you're trying to tackle, he's still playing and you are not, and that's a problem. Sorry, we could keep going with this, but Andy, who's yours?
Do you have a different one besides Rashawn, or are you?
I do.
I'll go for it. You go first.
Okay. I kind of went in a weird direction, but because I'm sure we could do a whole episode on this, honestly. There's
a lot of players Perry's really upset at.
But I went just with the offensive line as a whole. I feel like there are the individual parts of this offensive line are really exciting, and you could make the case Zach Tom, but who missed most of the season, or I actually really like Sean Ryan at center. I could see the case for bringing him back, or I thought, not to bury the lead, but I thought Jordan Morgan, when he got his time, made a really nice improvement this season, but something about them playing together just did not work this season at all. And it was just really disappointing because maybe it's something we've taken for granted, but I feel like I usually go into a season expecting the Packers offensive line to be at least average, above average. Even in not their best seasons, they usually put together an offensive line that people around the league are hey, look at that. And I know injuries play a role in it, like losing Elton Jenkins, et cetera, but like so disappointing to me the way they perform. They single-handedly like lost games
for sure.
this team. So
Cleveland game is a great example. Cleveland game was lost because of the offensive line, and the main reason. Yeah.
I mean, I think Rasheed Walker alone might have almost lost them the Bears game in the playoffs. Like,
no, 100%. Like, I didn't even mention Rasheed because I can't.
He was my answer. He was my answer. My most disappointing player was Rasheed Walker.
Yeah.
Of all the players that I graded this year, of course, every player in every play, the player who had the most games graded in the negative was Rasheed Walker. This was somebody who has played good football at left tackle for Green Bay. He didn't have a position change going from guard to center or from right tackle to left tackle. He stayed at left tackle. He's in a contract year. He's played good football. They didn't
healthy.
They didn't even have the like Jordan Morgan, Rasheed Walker battle. They're just like, nope, we trust Rasheed. He's going to be our guy. And he has the ability to go out and earn like $25 million per year if he goes out and has an awesome season. And to play as poorly as he did through the entire, it wasn't like the Rasheed in the past, even when he was good, would have kind of some ebbs and flows through the season. And it's like, oh, he had a good game. Not so good game. Oh, he had another good game. Another good game. Oh, bad game. Like, but this was just bad. It was bad almost every game. And to that level where you were expecting him and giving him that left tackle job, he is in a contract year and has the right to go out and earn a ton of money and even potentially in Green Bay and say like, I'm the guy in Green Bay at left tackle. You're not going to be able to move on from me because I'm going to be that good. And to just crap the bed, for lack of a better term, all year long, to me, Rashawn at least had games where he graded well and was good in run defense. Early in the year, he had 7 sacks. I know a lot of that was basically piggybacking from Micah Parsons' pressures and whatnot, but at least he did stuff at times. Like Rasheed just didn't for me. And for that reason, it's Sheed.
Guys, I have not been a Rasheed Walker fan for a bit. Like, I was hoping, I don't know, I'm not happy to be like proud of this, but he did not do it for me last season. I was happy about the Jordan Morgan pick because I'm like, great, like this is going to be their left tackle for the future because Rasheed Walker is not it. And I, throughout the season, was like, why are they not at least trying? And I know that there was so much change there, and there is something to cohesion with the offensive line, but he was bad at a position that like
you have to have good,
needs to be excellent.
Yeah.
Not a fan. Not sad to see him go.
I was not. I love how we're just laying our Rasheed Walker cards on the table and we're talking about our political.
Grant had his jersey.
Yeah,
Rasheed Walker jersey.
I'm not like the world's biggest Rasheed Walker fan, but up until this year, I'm like, on this contract, you bet, sure. Doesn't mean that I want a massive extension for him and that I'm, you know what I mean? Because there are players like that where it's like this contract, this role, you bet. When the contract comes up, maybe we'll see. I mean, I don't know what happened. And the worst thing, Andy, is like, dude would commit penalties at the worst possible time. Like you get beat by an elite edge rusher. That's one thing, because even the best tackles do that. But like you commit a procedural penalty on what should be a game-winning drive or a 2-minute drive. Like, no, I'm out. Very disappointing player.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. I think all good answers, though. I think Rashawn certainly would be a lot of people's answer. I think the offensive line as a unit is a great answer. And I think if you had to pinpoint one on the offensive line, I think Rasheed is a good answer there, too. Unfortunately, that there are so many, to say the least. Hey, friends, let's take a little snack break with Luigi's Pizza. We are talking today about one of my absolute favorites. It sounds simple. It's the Luigi's Original Cheese Pizza. But this thing is not just simple. It is beyond delicious. And what you really get out of this Luigi's Pizza is all the intricacies that go into the details and the amazingness of Luigi's Pizza. I'm talking about their robust tomato sauce. I'm talking about their mozzarella cheese from Wisconsin. I'm talking about their Parmesan cheese, the Romano cheese, the garlic and spices, everything perfectly combined into one amazing cheese pizza. Like I said, it sounds simple, but it's perfect and it is so, so delicious. It is a perfect bite every single time. You really appreciate that sauce, the crisp crust, the beautiful blend of cheeses. It is perfect for championship weekend, NFC championship game, AFC championship game, Luigi's Pizza. What more could you possibly want? Check them out over at luigispizza.com and on social media at Luigi's Pizza. Hey friends, it's time to get our sleeper picks in for championship weekend. There are only 3 games left in this season, and 2 of them are happening this weekend. If you haven't had the opportunity to check out Sleeper yet and get your sleeper picks in for these playoff games, you are running out of time. Now, Sleeper's great all year long, but it's especially amazing when it comes to championship football. We've got 3 picks for this one. Free pick, Matthew Stafford, more than 1/2 passing yard. Speaks for itself. Puka Nacua, we didn't get our touchdown last week, so we're going for our touchdown this week. More than 1/2 touchdown for Puka Nacua. And Kenneth Walker, more than 1/2 touchdown for him as well. No Charbonnet. He's out with the injury. This is going to be a heavy dose of Kenneth Walker in the backfield, and I do think he will find himself into the end zone in this game. You can choose my picks. You can go with your own, choose your own adventure. There are a ton of different options out there. Check it out over on Sleeper. And the best part is that you can get a 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKADAY. Again, a 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKADAY. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper for details. They're available in over 25 states nationwide. So make sure you get signed up and use that promo code ahead of Championship Sunday this coming weekend. Our next one is most surprising player. And you can go in a billion different directions with this. So like you can define surprise as you want. I'll go first since you guys seem to be thinking. I don't think like Grant's at a full 90-degree angle when he was thinking of that.
Thank you. I'm pondering.
So I'll go first. My most surprising player was Sean Ryan. And to me, it was that was yours too, is my definition of surprising because I liked how Sean Ryan played in 2024. And I thought he took a major step. And then he got the right guard spot, kind of had to rotate a little bit with Jordan Morgan or whatever. But at right guard this year, he didn't play well. In fact, I thought he took a step back from where he was a season ago to the point of like, I was surprised he wasn't playing better. And then Elton goes down and now Sean Ryan has to move to center and Sean Ryan outplays Elton Jenkins, partially because Elton sucked at the position too, but he outplays Elton Jenkins at center and looks, I'm not going to say really, but looks good as center and better than I expected him to be at that spot. So it's just kind of like the ultimate surprising season where I expected him to come in, play well at right guard. He doesn't, kind of gets like benched or at least rotated. And then eventually injuries hit and he actually plays better at a position I didn't expect him to play well at. So surprised all the way around by Sean Ryan.
You took the words right out of my mouth. He was absolutely like my first thought at surprise. And same, like similarly, because I just would have never expected at the end of the season to be like, yeah, I want Sean Ryan to play center over Elton Jenkins.
Yeah. And I would at this point, if you had to give me a choice, I would take Sean Ryan.
Too.
Remember when Sean Ryan, he had some sort of media veil at his locker where he basically said, yeah, I'm not going to be back next year. Like am I making this up, Andy, or did that happen?
You could be right. I don't recall it off the top of my head, but I'm sure you're probably right.
He intimated or said something like he felt the writing was on the wall that he was not.
Well, every time Matt's asked about Sean Ryan or anyone's asked, like they basically throw him under the bus and like, yep, we're just waiting for more consistency. Yep, he needs to get in better shape. Yep, there's always a negative, which I was like the opposite of Josh Myers, where we would all see Josh Myers play like hot garbage. It felt like, and every single time you asked about Josh, it's like, man, best football of his career. Like, cannot believe what he is doing out there for us. And I felt like I was being gaslit. I'm like, what? This is a true swear to God story. It happened so much with Josh Myers. I went through at like midway through the season last year, maybe even after that, and regraded every play of Josh Myers because I thought I got something wrong, is how much they convinced me of like, how, yeah, he's playing great. And I'm like, I must be missing something. And I wasn't. And that's why he got a $3 million 1-year deal on the open market. But yeah, just it felt bizarre. So I can understand why he'd potentially feel that way because every single time they're asked about Sean Ryan, it's like, yeah, we keep wanting more.
I think he felt as though he was on the outs, and it's easy for us to say, well, lock in, you got a Super Bowl to try to win. But human nature, like if you know your time at your company is up, like that's difficult. And I think when he got handed the center job, that gave him a little bit of a new lease on life. Like there's a lot of upheaval on this O-line. Who's to say I don't earn this job and I'm back? The Packers can only replace so many guys on the O-line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would love a new left tackle and a new they can only fix so many spots. And if Sean Ryan played a good center, so I thought maybe that was part of, other than the snapping, why he seemed to take to the center position so well. My surprising player, the other side of this coin, I don't understand how Elton Jenkins wasn't better at center. That surprised me. And you can say that it was a bad plan by Goody, and it probably was, and he has to wear a little bit of it. I also hold a little bit of it against Elton Jenkins. Like totally. as a vet, okay, thank you. As a veteran, you knew you were going to be expected to anchor this thing, and I don't think he came in ready to rock and roll with being on the same page with Jordan and just the mechanics of it all. And I think he thought, well, I'll slowly, I'll play my way into shape like a basketball player, not into physical shape, but the mental side of playing the position. And I think that really cost him early on. And then he got hurt, which is obviously out of his control. I was just not impressed at all at his approach or his readiness to play a position as a veteran when he was really going to be relied on. It was disappointing and surprising because I expected better.
I thought the effort sucked. I thought the effort sucked from Melton.
Okay, like on my show, I'd be a little bit more of a jerk about this. Like, yeah, I don't think he did nearly enough.
And on here, I would normally be like, kind of play this like, maybe he was dealing with something or didn't like the move to say. No, I thought the effort sucked. I didn't like it at all, and I thought it really cost Green Bay earlier in the season. All right, we got most improved player. Most improved player.
I have two that I can't decide between that are like
this is a little bit of a like fall back to like our breakout player as well. So I get like there's going to be some carryover. Mine was Javon Bullard. I'll just really quick. I loved how to me, like I could make arguments for a couple other ones as well, but where he really got better in the slot. Like last year, I thought he was good at safety, and I was a pretty big Javon Bullard defender, and people were like out on him after his rookie year, and I'm like, he is going to be a really good player. Just wait, he's going to be really good. He cares about it a ton. He flies around. It's going to slow down for him. And with that being said, I still thought slot, just in some of the coverage stuff, was like it was going to be too much for him. I didn't know that he was going to be able to exist there full time, and he really, really improved at that. So for that reason, I'm going Javon.
That's a good one. I mentioned mine already, so maybe I'll just give it to him. But I think Jordan Morgan. Okay. I think he's probably gonna start in 2026. I think that's safe to say, and I feel pretty good about that. I don't know that I would have felt that way. Like he was whiffing. Like he looked bad at the beginning of the season, and there were games towards the end of the season where he had to go in, and there were no pressures allowed, no sacks allowed, like really settled in. And he's really, first round pick, like you don't want to miss on that. And right now I think at a crucial spot too, like that offensive line is in tumult. So I was very encouraged by the development from the start of the season to the end of the season.
I would have said either one of those. Is it bad to say that I don't have one and that I don't want to waste your time just rambling about? I don't know. Are there any players that you think that I'm missing? Is there one on the board that I should be hitting here?
I don't know. LVN maybe.
Yeah, again, you could say Evan Williams and Tucker Kraft, like we said before, for breakout player as well.
I was trying to think of someone we hadn't talked about yet.
Yeah, here's my list of most improved from my grades. Give me 1 second here.
LVN and Jordan Morgan could be in the same club where it's like they got opportunities late and flashed, and that's all we really got. I have reason to believe that if Lucas Van Ness is healthy all year, we might be a little bit more excited about him. So maybe
they were. Yeah. I had them as a slash. I'm like, what? They were like the defensive, offensive mirrors of one another. Yeah.
Conveniently, the last 2 first-round picks who played well at the end. So like for those who are mad at Goody,
and it could be a little bit of like hopeful watching, like
off-season momentum.
Or just like, we have a lens of like wanting to see the bell curve going a certain way.
For sure.
But I think LVN with a whole healthy season, I'm excited about.
Yeah, I don't have anybody else, honestly. I think we hit the main one, so I think you're actually right.
I'm not gonna lie, these next ones I have no notes for. So
no doubts?
No notes.
Oh, no. Yeah, a lot of these are going to be obvious. Well, at least I think there's going to be a lot that are obvious. So we can probably cruise through some of these. All right. So most underrated player. I'll go first. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Andy.
You want me? All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jordan Love. The fact that there is anybody out there, and there are people out there that are not giving Jordan his flowers. He was a top 5 quarterback this year, bar none. I don't care what metric that you want to look at. He was a top 5 quarterback this year. He played unbelievably stellar. We saw like more interceptions in like the playoffs from some quarterbacks than he basically had through the entirety of the season. He was safe with the ball. He still took aggressive shots down the field. I actually think they didn't put the ball in his hands enough, especially early in the season where they were leaning into the run way too much. I thought he was phenomenal, and I still don't think he's getting the credit that he deserves for being as phenomenal as he was. So I'm going Jordan Love.
Especially among Packers fans. And I pointed this out on my show this last week with Caleb Williams, now that Bears game ended, like Chicago radio has had a week long, like, what a great end of the season. So much promise, so much. If Jordan Love did that, we would barbecue him the entire offseason. But what we expect and what we're looking for is just so much different than some of these other fan bases. So only in Green Bay could a quarterback have a season like that and have it mostly be like, it was a good year. Like, we're looking for a little bit more.
This is looking ahead, obviously, so I'm not going to like spill the beans too much, but one of the superlatives we're going to get to, Andy, is play of the year. And I spent a good half hour watching Jordan Love highlights from this season, trying to pick my favorite one. There are so many. Like, I encourage anyone who actually genuinely has any doubts about Jordan Love to please go do that, because there are so many. Like, he was a bright spot without a doubt. This, like, every play of the year you could choose is something he did this season.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm right there too. Anyone else have a different underrated player?
Mine is Christian Watson, and it's the little things. Like, everyone thinks he's really good. I think there's moments where we don't realize, one of the things I really like from him this year, the deep ball and the speed. Like, I all of a sudden really trust him on an outbreaking route on 3rd and 8. You know what I mean? With a throw from the hash, like, he's extending his hands away and pulling those balls in over the sideline. It's really important. Like, if you want to win a Super Bowl and you're going to win multiple playoff games in a row, you need your best receivers to be able to go and get that ball on 3rd down and continue a drive. And I think Watson improved in a lot of technical things and little things in a injury shortened season too. So I know everyone thinks he's really good, but I still think he's a little underrated.
I don't know if he became or he started being used. Like, that's where I'm not sure where the line is, but the player that Christian was post injury was a lot more multi-dimensional than we saw previously. And again, I don't know if it's he developed that or if he always had it and they were calling plays for it, right? I do not know. Probably a mix of both, but I loved that. I loved seeing that from him.
He looked like a true number 1 wide receiver. As much as Matt doesn't like that conversation, he looked like a true number 1. Yeah. Perri, anyone else? Or are you good with both of those?
I'm good with these.
Okay. Best new addition, it's Micah. We don't need to debate it. He's the best new addition. These are ones that we talked about.
Fan. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
It's Micah. We don't need to, talk about that anymore. Rookie of the year, to me, is still Matthew Golden. I wish he would have got more opportunities, but there's nobody else in the running. Yeah, if somebody wants to make an Anthony Belton argument, I would disagree with you, but he started a lot. He probably maybe had more impact than Matthew Golden, good or bad, but to me, it's still Matthew Golden.
Xavier Williams, had his hand in winning them a game in New York. I mean, we're talking about little things here. Like, no rookies were having huge impacts, but like, he had a moment too. But yeah, I think it would be Matthew Golden. Glad he got his touchdown in Chicago. Not that it mattered.
Favorite moment of the season?
Ooh, different than play of the year.
Favorite moment. I'll do mine. So it's an all-encapsulating Micah Parsons week 1. It was the fact that Micah's there for week 1. The entrance is his first time, being the guy last out of the tunnel at Lambeau Field. The sack of Jared Goff, where you could just see it coming the entire way, and then getting a huge win against Detroit in a pretty dominant victory. I'm just going that game with Micah being the shining star of it was my favorite moment of the season.
That sack was high on my list for this answer. Just the hype around getting him, awesome. And then the fact that he just did not if anything, like, exceeded somehow the hype. I don't even know how that's possible. Yeah, that's a good one, Andy.
I think mine it's that same game. It was the 3-hour window on the Sunday. So the Packers play at 3:00, right? So they're America's game of the week, Packers Lions, and then they win. And I sometimes tweet about this, where, like, when your team wins the 3:00 game, like, you watch football night in America and you sit up and pay attention to the Toyota halftime show because your team is about to get, like, just tell me about the good things that my team did this week. And it was just that whole week 1 experience because Micah had just gotten there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they acquired him at the draft. Like, it was
on a snap count. It was on a snap count.
He was on a snap count. Like, it was the story that everyone was focused on. And then he gets the sack and they beat the Lions. And then it's like the number 1 story of week 1. And I'm sitting there on my couch and the season's still so young and we're still so happy because it's not winter yet. So, like, take me back to week 1, which I should have felt at the time, because at the time in week 1 after they beat the Commanders, I'm like, yeah, this could be as good as it gets, man. Like, watch the season go downhill from here. And it didn't really, but it also didn't go uphill. So
No, it did not.
It didn't get any better. So I'll just go the week 1 experience.
Perri?
Oh, I can go with the SAG. I mean, personally, like anytime I get to see them play live, considering I don't live in Wisconsin, is a highlight. So getting to go to the Giants game, which was obviously a lot closer than we would have wanted considering the caliber of opponent, but like nonetheless ended up being like a really excellent game to watch live.
Yeah.
Like the deep ball to Christian Watson was in our end zone, and yeah, just the vibes of getting to watch my team play on just like it was a gorgeous fall day in New York too. I got to see Nagler, so that was a good day.
That sounds perfect.
The Malik Willis half of the Baltimore game was pretty electric. It felt like whimsical.
Don't
and
talk
not
about that
real
game.
and
Yeah, just too much bad stuff though in that game to
just
to
the
make it
Malik
work.
stuff.
Yeah,
If you could
Malik
just
stuff.
isolate those plays, you're like, what is
That was
this
awesome.
guy? Look at this guy. That's it.
Worst moment of the season. Unfortunately, there are multiple nominees for this one as well.
The Broncos game.
Yeah.
Just the Broncos game. Just
Just that
everything
third
about
quarter.
it.
I just had Micah Parsons' injury. They could have lost the Broncos game in the same way if Micah was healthy, and I would have been totally fine. Micah was the moment, like, you lost the Super Bowl in that moment. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there was just nothing you were going to do from that point forward where you could have won a Super Bowl. You should still have beat the Bears. Maybe you could have gone
Twice.
to see. I think there's multiple things that you could have done. I don't think one of those things is winning the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is dead right then and there, in my opinion. So that to me was the worst moment.
The worst part is the high that preceded that injury was so high. Like, I was thinking Super Bowl. It's like, this is about to be their best win of the year. They're about to get hot. They're in Denver. Like, if it had happened on the first play of the game, that would have sucked, but it would have sucked less. So yes, you were correct.
Yeah. All right. Coach of the year.
Like within the Packers organization,
Yes.
I'm
gonna go Ryan Downard. I think the safety room was the best room for the Packers, and I thought Evan Williams took a jump. Thought Javon Bullard took a jump. Maybe you could say Xavier McKinney took a slight step. I still thought he played great football. I know he didn't have the picks, but I still thought, and he was an All-Pro still this season. So I thought the safety room was great. Even when like Zane Anderson, heck, even when Jonathan Baldwin got in that Minnesota game, he played good football in that game. So I'm going to say that was the best room this year, and I'm going to give my coach of the year for the Packers to Ryan Downard.
I guess I'll say Hafley. Selfishly, let me put the me in media. As a radio producer and host, that man gave me so much good sound. I filled so much airtime with some of that content. So I'll say Hafley. I'll miss him. I don't know that he was X's and O's, like functionally even the best coach or close to the best coach, but I'll miss that guy.
Jason Vrabel. The passing game rocked this season.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Okay. I like those three. Play of the year. I have two for this one. I'm curious what you guys came up with.
Mine. I told you I just watched so many Jordan Love highlights.
All right, what do you got?
Please go.
The Dontavian Wicks lost his shoe 4th and 2.
Damn, that was
catch
mine.
against the
Crap.
Lions.
I had that on my list too. That was on my list too. Yeah, that was awesome. Game-winning shoeless
So
catch
good.
on an unbelievable throw on a 4th down. What more could you? That was an awesome play. I was there.
I
So
got
the only
so
other one,
hyped watching it.
the other one that was on my list that I think is probably cannot be it because it's in a losing effort. That Matthew Golden touchdown in the wild card game was freaking awesome and should have won them the game. That should have been the dagger. That should have been the second half dagger that put that thing away. And that was such an unbelievable play. And I think if had Green Bay won that game, that would have been a no-brainer for me. But just because they didn't, it's a little bit tougher. But I would still gladly put that play in competition. But I'll go with the Wicks one as well. Then we can all be in lockstep there.
The Wicks one was mine, but if I have to give another one, the Tucker Kraft catch in Pittsburgh, that was
A good one too.
the prayer ball, but also like a jump ball that then he just took 40 yards because F you, I'm taking this 40 yards. Like, just an awesome, very entertaining football play.
Last but not least, game of the year. Packers Lions, take your pick. I don't even care if you want to go with week 1 or if you want to go the Thanksgiving game. I'll take either. Just Packers Lions. Both of them were amazing. Steelers game was good too, but either of the Packers Lions one were my two favorite games of the year.
Pittsburgh
Thanksgiving
was
probably for
mine.
me.
Pittsburgh's yours. That was just a good
Yeah.
answer too.
Pittsburgh
Rodgers
was
stuff
just
is-
like, to me, like
I don't know. Not that Jordan Love needed a coming out party, because I think he had one already, like Thanksgiving 2 seasons ago. But this was like, hey, remember me? I'm really,
Really
really
freaking
good.
I think the first Bears game is a sneaky underrated game. Just black and blue outside under the lights, big hits, came down to the wire. Just a very good football game where I think everyone came away from that game saying like good sports, like good football.
Good
So
sports.
I don't even know that there's a ton of signature. The Bo Melton shot and the Christian Watson shot, there were a couple big plays, but just that game as an experience is one of those where you're like, I'm just glad we have football and I'm going to be sad when the season is done type of game.
Me too.
I'm
Obviously the
sad.
Packers season is done, but yes, I'm sad that there's only 3 games left in the NFL season in totality. Anyone else have any superlatives would like to go over that we did not cover today? Speak now or forever hold your peace, or we will close the book on the 2025-2026 Green Bay Packers.
Non-Packer game of the year. The divisional weekend was just a joy. I miss the Packers, but man, sometimes it's fun to watch football without emotional stakes. And if it makes me a loser, fine. I went to bed so happy after the Bears lost. Just there's something I feel bad admitting it, but it's just true. I'm not gonna lie. That ruled. I don't know what else to say. It was great.
Grant, I hate watched that game to my heart's content. It helps that my other half is a Rams fan, is from LA. So like there was like this double whammy here, right? But like I enjoyed that hate watch so much. I cheered like it was my team winning.
It was great.
It was great.
I think that was the second best hate watch in Packers history.
The first being Favre and the Saints. Yeah.
Favre and the Saints was by far and away the greatest hate watch of my life. And to have him throw that pick in that moment and to get the all-time great call of, this is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. You could have taken a knee. That moment was an all-timer to just completely break Minnesota Vikings hearts. Double doink, very enjoyable. Enjoyable. The Gary Anderson miss for the Vikings. The Blair Walsh missed like 10-yard field goal, like the extra point like version field goal
TCF.
To end that game. That was very enjoyable. But
Vikings Eagles, I just saw the anniversary tweet of that, the NFC Championship game. I thought the Vikings were going to the Super Bowl. They were up 7-0. They looked awesome, and I'm like, oh, so this is happening. And then the Eagles just pounded them for the next, however many drives. It was great.
Yeah, this might have been the second most enjoyable hate watch, though. The first one, though, I don't think anything will ever top Vikings Saints. I don't think anything will top that.
Here's the thing, like, I think the Rams are good, and I think the Seahawks are good, but there's part of me, it's like, I could see this Bears team in the Super Bowl.
Here's my nervousness of that game, right? They could have beat the Rams. Like, they legitimately could have beat the Rams.
They probably should have beaten the Rams.
Probably should have beat the Rams, right? Sam Darnold has one bad game, and all of a sudden, Jared Stidham and the Broncos get a couple lucky bounces against the Patriots, and it's Bears versus Stidham in the Super Bowl. And I'm like vomiting. Going into that game. So like we had a multiverse of crappy football this year of like crappy happenstances for Packers fans. And I did not need this to end with a Jared Stidham versus Chicago Bears Super Bowl to end this thing. So I don't care what the connotation is for it. Screw that. That was an enjoyable loss.
I think the relief of knowing I can go through this week without the knot in my stomach of like, the Bears could go to the Super Bowl, man, and I'm gonna have to deal with that.
The only thing I will say is like, football is at its best when you have a face and a heel, when you have a good guy and a bad guy. Yeah. And sometimes, which is why, like, regardless of what you felt about Brady or Rodgers on different team or Favre on the Vikings or things like that, like having somebody to cheer against is almost as valuable at times as having somebody to cheer for. So if you like could have guaranteed me that the Bears wouldn't make it to the Super Bowl, having Bears Seahawks and having to go, like having somebody to hate watch this week, maybe wouldn't have been the worst thing, but I was happy for it to be done with. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want to tempt fate. So yes, I'm very happy.
This weekend, we're Rob Lowe with the NFL hat. We're just
NFL hat on this week.
Yep, we just got our NFL hat on. I think I'm going to cheer against the Patriots, which sucks because I like Vrabel and I like this team. You can't. How can they allow this?
I don't want Jared Stidham in the Super Bowl, so I'm cheering for the Patriots.
I'm rooting
to get a
for
better
the Patriots too. I need 2 good quarterbacks in a Super Bowl. That's.
Stafford May would be the right one this season. It feels like.
I'm a number 1 Sean Payton hater also. So
that's
he's
a good thing too.
Easy for me to root against.
I find it very easy to root for Devontae Adams. So
True
I
story.
would love to see him like finally win one of those NFC championship games. He's lost a few.
Yeah. Well, if he catches the ball in the end zone, that would probably help his team's efforts. So I'm pulling for him to succeed on Sunday. Don't laugh. That happened. That's the thing that happened. I'll never forget it. Greatest receiver I've ever watched in a Packers uniform. Ball hits him in the hands in an NFC championship game. Whatever. I'm pulling for the Rams, but Seattle would be fun too.
All right, friends. I think we covered it. Perri, did you have any other superlatives you wanted to reel off before we get out of here?
No, I mean, you had biggest reason for optimism, which I thought would be a really nice way to end the show. Although I did enjoy ending it with a Bears hate watch, but we talked about him for a number of superlatives, but it's still Jordan.
So for my reason I had for biggest optimism is just the return of all the injured players. Again, we talked about how many players missed so many games, but you get a healthy Tucker and Zach Tom and Micah and Devontae and Christian and Jaden and on. Yeah, that's
this team is really freaking good. And like sometimes you hit injuries and you just can't overcome them. And that to me is like the story of this season. Like this team is really, really, really freaking good and they're gonna be good. And that's why I'm optimistic.
Love it. That's a perfect way to end. All right, Grant, tell us about the radio show, my friend.
The radio show, what a week we've had. Freddie Peralta was traded, so we got to talk a little baseball, which is fun, but we're chronicling every step of this defensive coordinator search. I tell you, inside and out, every single candidate, 4 to 6 every night. We just added affiliates in Appleton and Oshkosh. So to your listeners in the Fox Valley, we're up there on the Score now. But you can find all the info for my show at my Twitter at Wisco Grant.
PG.
I love how Grant, like talking about his show, his like radio voice comes out. Yeah, it's like if you're up in the Fox Valley, I'm like, oh my god,
it's a 5 o'clock traffic jam.
Pax What She Said is going to be back this week with. I hate to call it one of our favorite episodes because I'd so much rather be doing a Super Bowl preview show. But every year when the Packers don't make the Super Bowl, which is every year the Pax What She Said podcast has been a thing, we do an episode on what do the Super Bowl teams have that the Packers don't. And it's just a really fun episode that Maggie and I do. And I'm looking forward to putting it together. Although, again, not as good as the Super Bowl preview, but we'll probably have an episode drop when we do hire the defensive coordinator, because over at Pax What She Said, we don't do speculation. And just find us on YouTube, Pax What She Said.
They have coaches that don't have perfectly trimmed eyebrows. That's why they're going to the Super Bowl. There, you can cut that out and put that into Pax What She Said and get a free Andy take.
Perfect.
All right. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you a ton. Go follow him at Wisco Grant. Follow her at Perri_Goldstein. You can find me at Andy Herman NFL. That's going to do it for us today. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know I enjoyed talking to you guys and breaking down all the awards for the year. I will see you guys tomorrow. We will be back in about a week and a half on a Monday episode again, hopefully for who knows what. Maybe we'll be talking about the Packers' new defensive coordinator at that time. Whatever it might be, we'll talk to you guys then. I'll see you guys tomorrow. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.